Today brings a shakeup in Santa Clara that rattles the locker room, the call sheet, and January ambitions. An AFC rival lost its field general for months. A familiar name could cross the conference, and a stand-in just sparked a debate we thought was buried. There was a punch-out that flipped the script, fresh blood surprising in a critical trench, and a front office keeping the phone close. Who earns snaps, who becomes trade capital, who swings the hammer when it gets tight, and the schedule won't forgive. Soon, you won't believe what we've got today. So take a seat, drop a like, and let's dive straight into the news. When the AFC loses a commander, the whole chessboard shifts, and today the table shook. A direct rival for a January seat saw its compass flip, and the echo of that hit crosses the conference, reaches the Pacific, and knocks on Santa Clara's door. Heavy hitters are calling heavy hitters, executives are testing limits, and a familiar name is back in the room as an emergency solution. Meanwhile, an efficient backup puts smoke in the air. Can you ride it out without touching the core of the roster, or is it time to pay the price? Breathe, because the answer messes with the NFC West and with the hierarchy the 49ers want to protect. Yes, the Bengals lost Joe Burrow to a turf toe injury, and the talk is up to 3 months out. Jake Browning steadied things in the short term, but projecting an entire campaign is a different conversation. When urgency hits, the market looks to places with coaches who squeeze every drop out of talent and quarterbacks who digest complex systems. Plenty of people are speculating about a call to John Lynch, asking about Mac Jones, the newcomer who dazzled in his debut against the Saints. But context matters. With Brock Purdy week to week because of his toe and the ambition to contend at the top, the Niners' tendency is to protect their own board. Jones is under contract through 2026. Selling now beyond being expensive would shake the stability of Plan A and Plan B. If Cincinnati pushes, the inquiry is more likely to set a price point than close a deal. The hottest rumor, though, drips a few miles south. Jimmy Garoppolo, now the Rams' backup, is popping up in national columns as a rental target. Short deal, manageable cost, and a mastery of timing-based offenses. First, that would remove, even if remote, the chance of seeing Jimmy on the other sideline in high-leverage moments inside the division. Second, it could strengthen a rival in the other conference that might re-enter the wild-card mix, scrambling the seed fight and affecting the January path. If the Rams entertain a trade, their quarterback depth thins just as the NFC West promises physical games. Less margin for error in Los Angeles, more pressure on that line, and by extension, fewer exotic looks to slow our pass rushers. On our side, the front office keeps the same message: stability first. No buying someone else's panic. With Purdy being monitored and Jones absorbing the playbook, the QB room remains functional with room to grow. The fan base is already reacting. Some love the bet on internal development. Others wonder if this is the moment to convert value into draft capital. Both reads have logic, but there's a line between being aggressive and being impulsive. Enter Kyle Shanahan. A strong system cuts noise and safeguards decisions. While the Bengals race the clock and test the market, the 49ers gain something priceless. Time to heal up, consolidate the offensive line, and fine-tune game plan details that keep the offense efficient. In the end, any trade has to serve the larger blueprint. Hit December healthy, with a high seed and a unified locker room. Injuries heal, but rushed decisions leave scars, and that wasn't even the most surprising part of the day.
Nothing fires up San Francisco like the eternal quarterback saga, and the Flames got hired to start this season. A backup who arrived under skepticism played like a seasoned vet, and suddenly the forbidden word crept back into Santa Clara controversy. Fans are already debating whether there are two legitimate starters in the same locker room, and the national media jumped on the provocation. Is it overreaction or reality? For some, one game is enough to question billion-dollar contracts. For others, experience and consistency still carry more weight. What's undeniable is the climate around the position. When Brock Purdy signed that 5-year, $265 million extension, the expectation was stability at the helm. But fate loves to toy with this team. A big toe injury kept him out against the Saints, and that's where Mac Jones found the perfect openings. 3 touchdowns, 0 turnovers, total command of the moment. If the mission was merely to hold the fort, he delivered more than that, fuel for a conversation we thought was sealed. The comparison arrived instantly. Grant Cohn, always sharp edge, floated the notion that Purdy and Jones provide a similar level on the field while living in different financial universes off it. Colin Cowherd added the line that trended: Purdy shines because Shanahan exists, and Jones proved it in a single outing. The fan base split: on one side, those who see Purdy as a system product; on the other, those who believe leadership and quick processing are traits you can't teach. Slow down though. There's a difference between a one-off impact and a career's body of work. Purdy has already shown he can carry the team in critical moments, flip games against elite defenses, and sustain performance over an entire season. Jones at this point owns a golden game, nothing more. Even so, you can't ignore how the locker room responded. Teammates praised his calm in the pocket, the quick chemistry with receivers, and the ability to adjust at the line. That's not luck, that's work. Here's the strategic dilemma. When you have two functional QBs, you gain security for a brutal stretch, but you also feed external speculation. Every strong Jones performance will spawn headlines and debate. Every Purdy mistake, no matter how small, will be judged against cost-benefit. That kind of narrative tests a locker room and needs firm management. In the end, Shanahan holds the knife and the cheese, a scheme that maximizes talent and turns average pieces into reliable weapons. If he lifted Jimmy Garoppolo to a Super Bowl and a conference title game, it's not a stretch to imagine him keeping Purdy at his peak while turning Jones into a trusted arm. What remains to be seen is whether the front office sees this as strategic luxury or a storm about to break. And that still wasn't the wildest twist. When a team starts Tua despite a hostile schedule and a crowded training room, something special is brewing, and Fred Warner knows it better than anyone. The linebacker is the beating heart of a defense that refuses to cede ground, and the first weeks already showed how much his leadership matters. This wasn't just another road win, it was a statement. Even missing key offensive pieces, the 49ers can compete, withstand, and find ways to close. At the center of that machine is Warner's energy. He didn't hide his pride when talking about the kids. Mikael Williams, a high draft pick, already looks like a vet, attacking gaps and owning responsibilities as if he had years in the league. Safety Marquez Sigel piled up timely tackles, while Upton Stout stamped his name on the box score with his first sack in red and gold. And D. Winters, not exactly a rookie, keeps growing under Warner's wing. It's the kind of renewal that guarantees defensive longevity, keeping the standard through off-seasons of departures and injury waves. But the moment that yanked everyone off the couch was different. Third quarter, Alvin Kamara carrying, and Warner simply decides that snap won't be like the others. Perfect punch on the ball, forced fumble, and his own recovery. A play that changes the script, injects jet fuel into the stadium, and sends a message to any opponent. Even when it feels under control, Warner needs just a second to flip the table. Kyle Shanahan challenged, the refs confirmed, and the game tilted. Trent Williams, the attack's elder statesman, didn't hesitate. He said he was going to go get the ball, and he went and got it. It's not talk, it's delivery. That's why the locker room follows this guy. That's the kind of validation that transcends stats. Warner isn't just a defensive keystone, he's a mindset model. When he talks about packing the defense in his carry-on, it isn't metaphor, it's truth. Here's the real impact. As rookies grow up fast and learn in the fire of the trenches, they've got an elite tutor showing how to turn intent into execution. That blend of youth and technical reference is what sustains dynasties. The NFC West is brutal, with offenses that punish every slip, but when you have a captain who reroutes receivers, reads before the snap, and anticipates a back's track, the margin of error shrinks on the other sideline. The fans got it immediately. Social feeds flooded with Warner as the real defensive MVP and the brain of the unit. More than hype, it's recognition. Without him, the holes would be bigger, the adjustments slower, and the kids more exposed. By turning inexperience into collective strength, he not only holds the line, but paves the future. Don't ignore the strategic math. Every turnover he creates shortens fields, boosts the offense's confidence, and ultimately steals points from the opponent. He's a win multiplier, a rare trait. If he already felt decisive in the first 2 weeks, imagine his weight in playoff games, where every possession is gold. Warner isn't just a star, he's the kind of player who can change the arc of an entire season. And wait until you hear what happened in the offensive trench, because the next surprise was even more unexpected. If the first 2 wins showed the defense's winner DNA, the fourth act proved that even under fire, the 49ers trenches find answers. It had all the makings of a nightmare. Then Barch goes down with an ankle injury, and suddenly, the offensive line looks exposed right in the middle of the game. But what could have turned into a disaster became a surprise. A 7th-round rookie, seen as a raw project, steps in and holds the fort like a seasoned vet. Connor Colby wasn't in the script. The plan was to bring him along slowly, give controlled snaps, and hide him from high-risk situations. The NFL doesn't wait though, and in the beat of a snap he had to protect Mac Jones against the Saints defense. The result? 38 pass-blocking snaps, 0 sacks, 0 pressures, 0 hits. A clean sheet that earned a solid Pro Football Focus grade, and more importantly, locker room confidence. It wasn't perfect, there's run game polish to come, which was expected given Iowa's run-heavy DNA. But in pass protection, Colby flashed disciplined hands, balanced base, and the recognition to sort out blitzes. You don't teach that in a week. It shows rapid absorption and the courage to compete at the highest level. The curious detail is that precisely because he didn't draw attention with mistakes, he stood out. For a rookie, not being mentioned on the O-line is nearly a synonym for excellence. The strategic impact goes beyond the game in New Orleans. If Barch needs time, Colby can turn necessity into opportunity, and more, by offering unexpected security. He gives Shanahan room to expand the call sheet without fear of pocket collapses. That means more time for deep routes, more confidence for Jones to attack the middle, and of course less mental wear for the offense. Every clean snap helps not just the quarterback but the entire system. Fans didn't take long to speak up. The narrative flipped from "here comes disaster" to "we found another late-round gem." It's almost tradition in San Francisco. Year after year, late picks and undrafteds become valuable pieces. It reinforces the front office's reputation for surgical draft vision, seeing potential where others see only numbers. If Colby stacks consistency against stronger fronts, he'll be remembered as another overachievement story in the franchise's DNA. The challenge rises now. Facing the NFC West's physical fronts will expose weaknesses and demand fast growth. But if Shanahan and line coach Chris Forster know anything, it's how to mold linemen to compete. Colby entered as an emergency, exited as a solution, and now has a real shot to compete for a starting role. For a roster already juggling injuries, watching a rookie shoulder the load is practically a gift. Here's where the plot gets irresistible. While conference rivals lose vital pieces and scramble for emergency reinforcements, the 49ers found an in-house answer to a problem that could have derailed the season. A steadier line means fewer turnovers, better tempo, and ultimately more wins. If Warner showed how the defense reinvents itself with youth, Colby proved that even on offense, the future can arrive earlier than expected. Now the inevitable question: how far can this balance between veterans and pleasant surprises carry the team? The season promises more twists, and the Niners already look ready to turn obstacles into ammunition. Breathe red and gold, faithful. The day started with an AFC earthquake, moved through a fire starter debate in the QB room, found a captain who changes games with his own hands, and closed with a rookie turning urgency into a solution. The strategy is clear: protect stability, capitalize on growth, and keep the high seed horizon while the locker room tightens ranks. Now it's about fine-tuning details, accelerating rookie development, and protecting the plan through December. Would you bank on today's security or explore an aggressive trade if the price is right? Drop your take in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and share.